Do not touch.
Very good evening to everyone. Myself, Dr. Alex. I'm a consultant nephrologist at Kidney Care Center and Galaxy Hospitals, Tirunelveli. I'm going to make you go through a normal process of a left tunnel catheter insertion. The demonstration is of a 23 centimeter glide path catheter. I'm going to make you go through normal process of insertion of left tunnel catheter. This was for a 60-year-old male who was initially on hemodialysis through a right jugular, which was removed, and left brachiocephalic fistula was there, and it went non-functional. He was dialysis independent for a period of around 6 months. Later, again become dialysis dependent, readmitted for reinitiation of hemodialysis. On screening of his jugular, his right jugular was completely stenosed, his left jugular was patent. So after counseling and obtaining a consent, we went ahead with left tunnel catheter insertion. So I'm going to give you a few tips for insertion of left tunnel catheter insertion. This catheter will be threaded over a guide wire. We don't use a sheath in this particular catheter. So the first thing is about draping and painting and draping. So you paint completely, thoroughly on the entire side of the left hemithorax. And drape using sheets. You may be having disposable sheets also. In that case, that will be like a cath lab sheet. That is more convenient. If you don't have, you can use cloth. The whole central hole sheet should have an adequate hole for the tunneling as well as insertion of the guide wire. You drape completely on the head end as well as up till the thigh part so that you don't touch any unsterile areas during the process of catheter insertion. The first point is about insertion, local anesthesia infiltration. We keep the needle bended. We bend the needle horizontally so that as you give local anesthesia, you don't enter inadvertently into any of the vessels surrounding the jugular or into the carotid. The amount of local anesthesia that you infiltrate should not be more than 1 cc so that it does not alter the anatomy or occlude the vein as you infiltrate the local anesthesia. So after you infiltrate the local anesthesia, the process of guide wire insertion under real-time ultrasound guidance, we follow a technique called Z technique, wherein we go in an acute angle, we insert at least the needle 2 mm into the skin, and then we change the direction and go vertically under the ultrasound guidance throughout the process. This is especially important for veins which are very superficial so that you don't have a straight path into the vein. This helps to reduce ooze from the after insertion of the guide wire, also prevents ooze as you do a nick in the subcutaneous area for the dilatation process. So now we are inserting the guide wire. It is under the fluoroscope guidance. Throughout you see in the fluoroscope, make sure that the guide wire goes in the right anatomical path along the left brachiocephalic vein into the SVC, into the right atrium, and then into the inferior vena cava. So you see that the guide wire goes along the normal path throughout the process of insertion. So here we are looking at the picture of the C-arm continuously as we insert the guide wire so that you don't enter into any of the abnormal anatomical pathways. So after you do that, you ensure that the guide wire is in the left internal jugular vein, and you see that through the ultrasound and ensure that the guide wire is in the jugular vein only. So this is the normal pathway of the guide wire. You can see that the guide wire is going along the normal path, the left brachiocephalic vein into the SVC, and so this has gone into the right atrium and straight into the IVC. This enables the passage of the catheter into the right atrium only. It prevents the entry of catheter into the azygos vein or into the right ventricle, and it enables the tip of the catheter to be in the right atrium. So after you insert the guide wire, we do measurement to fix the exit site. We follow the anatomy of the veins, keep the catheter over the anatomy. So first point that we take is that the Lewis angle, and 3 fingers from Lewis angle will be exactly the approximately mid of right atrium, and you keep the catheter along the normal anatomy and you fix the exit site. And we see that the catheter tip is in the mid RA by using the fluoroscope. This enables the accurate positioning of the catheter tip in the mid right atrium. And once we fix the exit site, we mark it using the back of the needle cap so that you don't, you mark it accurately. Once we mark the exit site, we infiltrate local anesthesia and we use the Laven blade to make a small nick. The nick should be of adequate length so that the cuff as well as the catheter goes through that easily. So after you make a nick, we use the artery forceps to slightly stretch that. The nick should not be more than the size of the cuff, so that you prevent oozing as well as you prevent any entry of organisms through that tunnel. So we use the curved artery to slightly stretch the exit site, and we make a small pouch at the exit site also for the easy passage of the cuff as well as the catheter. So now again, we use the 15 blade to make a nick in the entry point of the guide wire also. The nick has to be again adequate length so that the tunneler as well as the catheter comes out smoothly. And we use a curved artery forceps to make a subcutaneous pouch. Make sure that you don't stretch or open the artery forceps as you are in the tunnel. So we just create a pouch so that the tunneler as well as the catheter comes out smoothly. So we don't stretch too much. At the same time, you insert it of adequate length so that the tunneler comes out smoothly without any resistance. As we know, the glide path catheter is different from the routine catheters in a way that you have a stellate. Stellate has a separate exit point here in the catheter. It comes out through a very central hole. It does not come through the arterial or the venous port. So as you thread the catheter into the tunneler, you have to withdraw the stellate for adequate length and you start threading the catheter into the tunneler. Make sure that as you do that, the tip of the catheter does not get kinked in that kinked with the tunneler. This can affect the flow of the catheter. Now we are doing the tunneling process. Now the metal part has come out. Once the metal part has come out, you always pull the metal part and give a slight push from the other side. Once the plastic part of the tunneler enters, you always keep pulling. Don't try to push or pull from the other side. Do not try to pull the catheter also. So this makes sure that the catheter always gets attached to the tunneler during the process of tunneling and does not get detached midway through the process of tunneling. So after we tunnel, we remove the tunneler. Now it is the time to reinsert the stellate. As you insert the stellate, make sure that the stellate comes through the central hole only. It does not come through the arterial or the venous port, so that during the process of insertion, it does not kink the tip of the catheter or the arterial lumen. So if there is a kink, there may be a chance that the flow can get affected. So here you can see in this video that we keep the finger in the arterial hole so that the stellate comes through the central hole. So after that, the process of dilatation using 3 different dilators. So as you do the dilatation, we are not supposed to do too much of dilatation. The dilatation process should be of adequate only up to the first curvature of the left brachiocephalic vein, not beyond that. If you try to do beyond that, there is a chance that you may make a rent in the wall of the vein. So we use 3 different dilators of different diameter, and during the process of dilatation, always under the fluoroscope guidance only. So after doing the dilatation, always have an assistant to keep the dilated part occluded, and you can start threading the guide wire into the stellate. Always use saline soap gauze to clean the guide wire before you insert, because there may be some clots or something sticking onto the guide wire which may make the process of insertion of guide wire into the stiller difficult. So as you insert, make sure that you pull the guide wire of adequate length. At the same time, you keep seeing in the C-arm continuously under fluoroscope guidance that the guide wire is in the right atrium only. You don't pull out too much of the guide wire outside during the process of threading the guide wire into the stillet. So as you thread, here we are threading the guide wire into the stillet. The guide wire will be of the initial process of threading will be easy, but the later part of threading can become a little difficult. The guide wire may find it very difficult to come out of the stillet, but you don't push too much. You do it gently, slowly, take your own time. Don't push too much because the guide wire can get kinked or it can break. That may make the process totally very difficult. So there should not be any kink or any break in the guide wire as you keep inserting it into the stillet. So make sure that the tip of the guide wire is in the right atrium only. It does not pull out too much of the catheter guide wire. So now once the guide wire comes out of the arterial lumen, we push the guide wire, and along with that you push the catheter. Slowly you try to do that, and we use a artery forceps to clamp the tip of the guide wire that has come out of the stillet to make sure that the guide wire is kept stable and if the guide wire does not go enter in during the process of insertion, there is a chance that the guide wire may again go into the catheter. This may make the process of pulling out the stillet and guide wire difficult. So to keep the guide wire stable, you can put an artery forceps to the tip of the guide wire that has come out of the stillet. Now you are completely insert the catheter before you pull out the stillet along with the guide wire. Now you can see that the catheter is completely inserted. Now the process of pulling of the guide wire along with the stillet will be very easy. If you try to pull out your stillet along with the guide wire, with the catheter being pushed in half the way, it will be very, very difficult. So always insert the catheter completely. See in the C-arm that the catheter tip is in the mid right atrium, and then you start pulling the guide wire along with the stillet. So after that, you check the flow using a 10 ml syringe. Free flow should be there, and then you fill it with heparin and suture accordingly. So these are the few tips that we follow during the process of insertion of a glide path catheter, which we are threading over the guide wire. So this particular catheter has made the process of insertion of left tunnel catheter very easy, irrespective of the anatomy or the curvatures of the brachiocephalic into the superior vena cava. So we have inserted almost 5 to 6, and most of all the catheters are doing very well. There is no flow problem or any issues. So I hope all these tips are very much useful for the residents, beginners, as well as those who are practicing right tunnel catheter most, and many will hesitate to insert left tunnel catheter because of the complications associated with that, with this process of over the guide wire insertion. I hope with these tips, if you follow, you can make sure that you don't do any complications during the process of insertion of your left tunnel catheter insertion. Thank you.